Let's swap dimensions in today's Minecraft Origins Explained. Today with the End Origins collection created by the user known as ProMan468. This one is going to be linked down below over on the 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 website. Yeah, that's right, your prayers have been answered. We've got an Origins collection from 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 rather than from a Discord server. Brilliant. Effectively, the End Origins gives you a pair of awesome, cool End Dimension themed Origins, which are going to be pretty cool. Let's jump right into them. First, we've got the Antherial. This is the 3-impact origin. The Antherials are species of humanoids directly related to Enderians, but are closer towards the Enderman family, sharing the 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 family. I definitely butchered that, whoops. They are very rare in humanity, but are very loyal and very kind. They typically live a longer life than most humans. So yeah, basically, the first origin here is an origin more themed to be an Enderman mixed with a human. Less so connotations of the Enderian, but more Ender-like than what the Enderian is. Let's get into the awesome abilities for this guy. First, we have Instant Teleport. You can teleport to your cursor instantaneously. Now, this ability is very, very interesting, mainly because it's a useful ability. It's got a very, very long range in comparison to other abilities, other origins that have this instantaneous teleportation to your cursor. Most of the time, those ones want you to be at least somewhat close enough that you can kind of highlight the block before you can teleport to it. But with this one, wherever you're pointing at, you can just instantaneously teleport to. The caveat to this origin, this ability, is it has roughly about a 30 to 50 second cooldown. Like, it's a ridiculously long cooldown that means you can't use this ability that often, but whenever you get to use it, you can make some very great distances with this ability alone. Hydrophobia. You receive damage over time whilst in contact with water. This is self-explanatory. You're an Enderman. You're based off of Enderman. You can't touch water. Water hurts. Duh. Passive Enderman. Endermen will not become aggressive towards you unless you attack them. Yes, this does mean that you can stare directly in the faces of that goddamn Enderman, right to his deep purple eyes, or if you're using the shaders I'm currently using, bright purple shiny eyes that will stand out in the goddamn pitch black. It's not even funny. But yeah, you can just stare directly at his head for as long as you possibly want, and he will not get aggro at you whatsoever. He likes you now, he's passive towards you, he understands that you mutually benefit to just not kill each other because you're both in a very similar species. Until you hit him, then the Enderman's gonna come chasing after you and attempt to kill you. Then that becomes a you problem. Why did you hit the Enderman in the first place? Magic pumpkins. Mobs wearing pumpkins are invisible towards you. I mean, this is pretty simple. There's really nothing much more to it. This is the only way you can really get the whole, oh, you're scared of pumpkins because you're Enderman related thing in the game. It's literally just, they don't exist as a person. If they're wearing it, they're not there, you know. Yeah. This also works with armor stands, so don't lose your armor stands, eh? Potion allergy. You're allergic to potions. Potions with negative effects will double the potion's strength. So this ability is kind of like a double-edged sword. Wait, why is it even a double-edged sword? Both of it's just bad all around. So basically, any of your positive effects that you can use, it will actually gimp the duration that it will last, taking probably about not quite 25%, probably about 10-ish%, maybe slightly more than 10% of the duration will be nicked off. Like, let's say for an 8-minute duration effect, it will be knocked down to around 7 minutes. For a 1-minute 30 effect like Strength 2, they'll be knocked down to 1 minute and 15 seconds, which is a pretty noticeable decrease overall, as it's going to require you to use potions more often if you actively use them. But not only that, it will double the effects for any form of negative effects except for weakness. Weakness didn't seem to change much. It was still weakness 1 regardless of anything. But you put a slowness 4 potion on you, it will give you slowness 10. That literally means you can't move unless you're jumping around. That's pretty noticeably different. It gives you poison 4 instead of poison 2. Basically, you don't want to be given negative effects, especially by potions, because that will hurt. Long arms. You naturally have an extra long arms thanks to your Enderman background, so you have more reach. You can now reach up to 7 blocks away from your current location. That is pretty damn useful, especially when it comes to building things. It won't require you to have to build up on a tower just so you can reach the higher echelon echelons of any form of builds you're currently making. Overall, just a very, very useful bonus. Ender energy, you consistently have end particles surrounding you. You know those purple particle effects that are typically going around an Enderman? Yeah, those effects will be going around you at all times. Pretty neat detail. Enderman instincts. Your instincts make you more powerful whenever you're being looked at. If I'm completely honest, I have no idea what this origins and what this ability is referring to, mainly because I think it might be something that will only actually get activated when you're being looked at by another player in the Minecraft world, so this ability will mainly only come into effect in a multiplayer world, as I didn't notice anything different when a husk was, let's say, tracking me down, following me, looking directly at me. It didn't seem to anything to have changed in any way, shape or form, so I'm not 100% sure with this ability. Next we have the End Stone Golem. This is another 3 impact origin, a very dangerous end creature that has skin made of end stone. Effectively, you're the golem that lives in the end dimension. End Stone repairs. Whenever you're hungry, you can eat end stone by right clicking on it. This is a very interesting ability. One single end stone will equal to about half a rug of food. That's not much in the grand scheme of things. You'll have to consume like 20 of them in order to get a full hunger bar in most cases. Like, you're gonna have to consume a lot in order to heal yourself back up to full. But the difference is you don't have to wait for the animation to roll through with the eating animations. Now, good thing is that you're not restricted to only end stone. You can eat normal food like meat still, so it's not exactly game ending because you don't spawn in the end dimension, but still a very interesting thing regardless. Just keep in mind your diet is a carnivore diet, you're restricted to meat, you can't eat any form of vegetables, but that's not exactly a massive crazy caveat. 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓴𝓼, you receive damage over time whilst in contact with water. This is an end dimension origin. Water doesn't exist in the end dimension. Do you get it by now? Water bad for you? Water gonna kill you? I mean, come on, man. Ender Yeet. You can slam the ground and launch everyone in a 10 blocks radius into the sky. This has a 60-second cooldown. Now, this ability is pretty funny because it's funny to watch just mobs go flying up into the air whenever they're trying to follow you or try to surround you. Though keep in mind, there's a massive caveat with this ability. If you're not on the same level as everyone else, the ability is a lot less effective. Mainly because of the fact that they're a few blocks lower than you, the slam ground doesn't exactly launch anywhere near as well, so it may end up backfiring on you majorly, as you saw with this clip here where I tried to do it to a bunch of them surrounding me on a pillar. They go barely up, a creeper explodes, knocking me onto the ground, and I just got stuffed up. But if you're on the same level and there's nothing above you, you can send mobs flying and they'll drop to almost their death. They'll still have a few hit points left though. Diamond poison. Diamond armor is very poisonous to End Stone Golem, so you can't wear it. I mean, it's basically like all other you can't wear XYZ armor, it just doesn't allow you to wear armor. I think a way that would have made this far more unique in comparison to most other abilities along those lines is that you can still wear diamond armor, just whenever you're wearing diamond armor, you'll have a consistent poison debuff on you at all times. I feel like that would make this just a little bit more unique. Otherwise, just a basic you can't wear diamond armor. There's nothing more to it. End homesickness. You are somehow stranded in the unfamiliar overworld, so you'll do anything to get back into the end. You'll get haste too whilst in the end. So once you make it back to the end dimension after your endless time exploring the overworld, you'll end up getting a nice little ample boost of a permanent haste 2 whilst in the end dimension. Somewhat useful, but I honestly think there should possibly be some more perks to being in the end dimension as this origin, and maybe something similar for the Antherial origin as well. Maybe some extra benefits, like maybe you're a little bit faster in the end dimension, maybe you have a bit more jump boost, or maybe slow falling whilst you're in the end dimension. Just like other little neat boosts, because the haste 2 is really cool to have, as it allows you to break through end stone a lot quicker. It's overall the only good thing about being in the end dimension. This origin should be encouraging you to be in the end dimension most of the time. Familiar crafting. You're very familiar with the crafting of Eyes of Ender, so you can make 2 of them with the same materials. This is the type of boost that I would be talking about. This is something that makes it getting to the end dimension a lot easier, as you only need half the resources that you usually would in order to get to an end, in order to open up an end portal, because you only need half of the resources rather than the typical amount you do, because you get 2 Eyes of Ender for each crafting. Heavy. The end stone in your skin makes you ever heavy, so you sink in water. I mean, it's just a pretty big notable thing. You're made of rock, you're made of stone, stone sinks in water, so logically speaking, you don't swim in water. You can't swim in water, you just act like a normal human being. that's underwater, you just walk normally, except for you do take water damage, so you gotta keep that little thing in mind, you know. 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓰, you're considered an ally to villagers. Villagers will trade for you, but with higher prices, and iron golems will always be mad at you. This ability doesn't seem to function quite as intended. It doesn't look like that you get higher prices from villagers, unless it doesn't give you the red line crossout for those higher prices, as well as the iron golem isn't going straight after you to attack you. Though on the other side of the coin, the pillagers aren't going to directly target you. First, he was immediately straight going for the iron golems around me and ignoring me entirely, so maybe it's kind of working, but not at the same time. I don't know. That one's a bit of a weird one. Overall, the End Origins are a very interesting pair of origins that I honestly feel like are fun to have around. I do believe there should be some more changes in relation to these being end dimension origins, maybe giving certain benefits and bonuses for being in the end dimension, or maybe having some disadvantages whilst you are in the overworld, just something along those lines to add a little bit more flavor to the game. I'm glad that it doesn't have the default spawn set to the end dimension, because if you do that, you literally cannot leave the end dimension, because going through the end portal will send you back to your spawn. And if the spawn's the end dimension for you, you just can't leave the end dimension. So good thing for that one. Overall, cool origins. If you're interested in more origins, click this video on screen now. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.